Hello and welcome to Stir Crazy Arts classes with Gerald Savine, lesson number 28. You're going to continue doing the painting of the needles on the Isle of Wight. Okay, and I should be a bit more careful about flying palettes as well on this occasion. So I do apologise for that enthusiasm. Now I'm just going to bring in some colour. I've mixed up a little bit of raw umber, and I'm just going to tickle it in, filling up some of this space here in the greenery. Again, when you get to the rough grasses, you'll find that there's always a lot of dead or grasses and things amongst all that, so quite straw-like. But on this occasion, rather than going with, say, yellow ochre, going with a bit of raw umber to start off with. Bring a bit of character into this. Again, so I'm using a number 8 brush here, by the way, so you might I'll probably get a bigger brush when we come to do the sea, because it's quite a big area to cover, but this gives you a bit more control. Now again here, we've got a feeling of the landslip, so I'm going to bring some colour in for this, again the colour here for this. So that's going to be, it's quite pale as you can see, but then I'll try not to overdo the colouring here. Just give a bit of feeling. Again, slightly darker here, we've got a little bit more character in the cliffs themselves. There's a bit too much there. So I'm going to soften this down very quickly while it's still there, because there's a sort of the strata of the rocks, the cliffs that are there. Now I'm going to go back again now, and I'm going to bring in some stronger green. Again on the tip of the brush, a bit more green on the brush. So now we can get a bit more character into the grass. Again, what I'll do is I'll just show you how you can do this. And I won't do it all on this occasion, otherwise we're going to be ages doing this. Again, because always come back to this, what I keep saying, you've got plenty of time, I haven't got so much time to show you what to do, but this is guiding you through, hopefully, and give you a feeling of how to approach it all. Again, I'm leaving some of the, can you see how it's all working out? And again here we've got this sort of squidgy of the colour. It gives that sort of feeling of the grasses going on. I'm working my way around as quickly as I can. I have to, again, unfortunately we're always working against the time, against the clock here. But as I say, as ever, you've got plenty of time to do this night. What would be interesting in the future is perhaps I'll give you some information, contact information. If you like, you can send me a photograph of what you've been painting to see how you've been getting on. So don't forget, it's all for free, so it's not going to cost you anything. Just give you time to enjoy another interest in life. I know at this time, particularly at this time, the way things have been going, we're now some weeks into the so-called lockdown, and one is very much aware that doing painting can really take your mind off things around you and you start concentrating on all the things that are going on. But, now then, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, some of the brown is now got dry, so I'm going to bring a bit more of the colouring in down here. Try not to be too wet. But again, you see we can bring the, again this is still the raw umber. I'm afraid there's a bit of shadow going on here. We've got the windows behind us, but it's a bit better than that. But again, if you occasionally refer back to the original, if you see the original picture, have a look at that, you can see that the slightly more delicate, shall we say, with how the grass is. And so at this precise moment in time, we're still using the raw umber for this. I'm just giving again the sort of, obviously this was, when we were there, when we photographed this, it was obviously mid to late summer, and so a lot of the grass has lost its freshness that you get in the springtime. Again, what's nice about when you start looking around, and if you're painting outdoor scenes, you'll start being more aware of the time of year by the colours that you can see around you. So there's so much. Now here I'm just going to put this darker in here because we've got shadow coming here. The light is coming from the left here, so it must have been certainly not in the afternoon. It must have been late morning when we were there. I'm putting some of the little bits going on in here, dabbing some of the colour in. But I'll leave this up to you to look at the original part that's there, so you can begin to see a little bit better than, again, unfortunately I'm having to be a little bit crude in what I'm doing. We're going to be using a slightly smaller brush shortly, but just hopefully beginning to get a feeling of what's going on here. Again, I'm just going to bang in some bit more feeling. Again, if you go back and look at the original picture, which again you're able to do, if you can, if you download it, you can take time and look at the original painting. Now then, I'm going to bring in some of the burnt umber now. We've got a few more minutes to go yet before we have to stop, have a break. I'm going to put some of the darker colouring in here. Again, I'm afraid that I'm having to be quite quick here, and I'm not being quite as detailed, if you like, for want of a better way of putting it. A bit more gentle than I'd quite like to do. I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush now because this is a number 6, I think. Give it a quick lick. Yeah, and I'm going to, so I've got a little bit more finer detail. Again here, so you can push the colour out. So as you can see, I'm trying to give you as much information as possible with very little time. I hope that you can spend a bit more time than I am looking and getting things going. Now I'm just going to, oops, that's not so clever either. Just to indicate a little bit of the feeling of the cliffs and things here. Right, what I'm going to do also now, with the stronger, more pigment on the brush, I'm going to put in some colour on these buildings. And again, I'm afraid it's not as perfect as I would like it to be. If you saw some of my original paintings, you know that my work tends to be quite detailed, and here we haven't got time to be too fussy. But, now what I'm going to do now, whilst I'm actually still at this particular position, I'm going to bring in a little bit of purple lake, and I'm going to put a bit of colour into the background. Now, the land in the background, that is, I'm going to bring the blue and the purple together, perhaps even a touch of the green too. That just dulls it down. There we go, it's not too bad. A little bit of the blue to go in it as well. So we've got the distant land over here. Again, if we dab it a little bit, it gives it a little bit of character. We're going to again a little bit more green in it this time, just to come across as we come across here. Now, it so happens that over here, of course, the rocks, the cliffs are white, so we'll be careful there. We'll just gradually come across, and then there's all the lovely green countryside. But again here, because it's in the distance, it's fading. Again here, we can just gradually... Now here I'm going to pull the colour down, let the brush strokes on. I'm just going to put a little bit more green in. I don't again say if you're familiar with this area, Poole and Bournemouth. There's quite a bit going on there. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to be careful where the sea is going to, where the tide comes up. I'm going to put a little bit more, I think a little bit of the purple in, a bit of the brown in. I'm just going to dab in some here, as though we're seeing buildings, a bit of landscape going on there. So it just gives a little indication of that. Now then, I'm going to come back here for the time. We've got some... I think, right, okay, we've got very little time left now. I'm just going to twiddle around a little bit here, but again, don't with a finer brush, bringing in a bit more. But you can see if you've got, now I'm just picking up pigment straight off from the tube of paint, and it gives that a little bit stronger, brings it all forward, a bit more colour in here. Now we've got, I'm mixing the green and the raw umber together here. I'm just going to bring this down here just to indicate the land. Again, as we're certainly be out of time in a minute, but this brings a bit of shadow into the bit of detail, construction into the landscape here. Now what I'm going to do very, very quickly, I'm just going to bung a little bit of dark colour into the building here. A bit of shadow, a bit over the top, but doesn't matter for the moment. And then again here as well. Now this is tucked down. So we're going to leave that for the moment. We'll come back to this again shortly, and we'll start working on some of the sea. Okay, so I say unfortunately it's not perfect, but you've got more time. You can look at the original painting and you can bring some more detail in. So, okay, so it's bye for now, and see you again shortly.